the dash.
At the end of part 1, we told you everything you need to know about semicolons and colons and how they can be used to link parts of a sentence together. But wouldn't it be great if we had some mark that had a little more flair?
And no rules. It shouldn't have any rules either.
Here's something you should know. Hyphens look like minus signs, like this, while dashes are twice as long as hyphens.
And can be typed on your keyboard by typing 2 hyphens. See?
A dash is used to interpret the smooth flow of a sentence, and then whammo! It introduces some dramatic element. It can also be used sort of like a drum roll, and the great thing about the dash is that in standard edited American English, you can use a dash wherever you want, before independent clauses, after subordinating conjunctions, whatever.
Dashes are usually used to insert dramatic information into the middle of a sentence, or to tag a zinger on to the end. And remember, dashes don't have any specific rules about where we can use them. Let's look at a couple of examples to show you what we mean.
Remember our sentence, everything was fine until I cloned myself. We tried to put a semicolon in between an independent clause, everything was fine, and a dependent clause until I cloned myself. But we know we can't use a semicolon to join an independent with a dependent. But how about a dash? Sure. Everything was fine until I cloned myself. It's a weird twist that we cloned ourselves, and we don't have to worry about the structure of the different parts of the sentence, since dashes know no rules. So bring on the dash. Here's another one.
Claude lifted a 30-pound weight with his teeth. What a guy! Setting a new world record. The result was a moment of glory and a trip to the hospital. First, we used dashes to shove an interjection right in the middle of the sentence. Then, in the second sentence, we attach a noun phrase to an independent clause. Ah, the versatile dash.
The reason we've used dashes in these 2 examples is because the things we're introducing are either exciting or unexpected. In the first sentence, we're sticking an exclamation right in the middle of it. In the second one, we're giving the sentence a little twist. So while a colon says, and here it is, a dash says, and oh, you're gonna love this. Are you ready? Because here it is. It's not as official as the semicolon and colon tests, but it can help us figure out if we're using a dash correctly.
Let's try that test out real quick. We just said, the result was a moment of glory and a trip to the hospital. If we sub in, and oh, you're gonna love this, are you ready? Because here it is, for the dash, we get, the result was a moment of glory, and oh, you're gonna love this, are you ready? Because here it is, a trip to the hospital. The sentence still makes sense, so we know we've used the dash properly. That's a lot of power for one little mark. And check out how we're not capitalizing the first letter after the dash. When we wrote, everything was fine until I cloned myself, we left the U in until lowercase. Again, we're just dealing with one big sentence now, so we only need one big letter, the E in everything.
That brings us to an important point. Remember when we were talking about exclamation points, we talked about having too much of a good thing? Well, the same thing is true for dashes. Take a look at this.
Our trip to the convention, a twin convention, was surreal. There were twins everywhere, absolutely everywhere, and you'll never guess what we had for dinner. Hot dogs.
While there's technically nothing wrong with any of these sentences, you have to admit there is some definite dash abuse happening. First of all, the fact that it's a twin convention is interesting, but it isn't really surprising. So we could just rewrite the sentence like this. Our trip to the twin convention was surreal. And the same thing's true for absolutely everywhere. There's no point in saying everywhere twice, so let's lose it. And hot dogs? Come on. If we were eating hot dogs, then maybe a dash, since that's just gross. We could use a colon, but that's a little forced as well. Why not just say, and can you believe we had hot dogs for dinner? That's better.
Sometimes people try to use dashes to spice up a sentence that's just plain boring. Look, if your sentence is boring, rephrase it so it's more interesting. Don't just stick a bunch of dashes in there. Remember our paprika and oatmeal? Hey, look, if you want spicy food, order Thai. Hey, thanks, man. This looks good.
This Thai food is good. Really good. So good, I can't believe it.
Wait a second. Why don't I just say, I can't believe how scrumptious this Thai food is? Yeah, that's better.
The dash is used to interrupt a sentence in order to introduce some dramatic element. Unlike semicolons and colons, there are no formal rules governing where you can put a dash. By using the "and oh, you're gonna love this, are you ready because here it is" test, we can tell if a dash is called for in a sentence. And since a dash has so much drama associated with it, they shouldn't be used too frequently in writing.